Welcome back to CordcuttersLI, where we help to save you money on your cable bill. Speaking of saving money, Walmart has just come out with their brand new ON HD streaming stick with Google TV, and the price is only $14.88. You may have seen my review on their ON 4K streaming box with Google TV earlier this year, which comes in at just $5 more at $19.88. So this new non-4K HD stick begs the question, why wouldn't I just pony up $5 more and get the 4K model? Or better yet, spend just a bit more and get one of the Chromecast with Google TV devices in the $30 to $50 range. I've done videos on those as well. Well, I'm not looking to make that decision for you, but in this video, I'll give you all the information you need to make that choice for yourself. And at the end of the video, I will tell you what I would do and why. Stay tuned for that. So if you're ready to find out exactly what $15 gets you these days in the world of Google TV streaming devices, sit back, relax, and let's go. If you're new to CordcuttersLI, where we try to help you save money on your cable bill, please click that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Doing this will make sure you don't miss out on any new videos as they come out, and it helps to support the channel. Okay, so before I dive in and share some of my experience with this new streaming stick, I'm going to talk briefly about the specs between the box and the stick. They're virtually the same with just a couple of little differences. They have the same CPU. They both have the quad-core Cortex-A35 CPU. They have the same graphics processor, the Mali G31 MP2. The 4K box has 2 gigs of RAM and 8 gigs of storage, versus the stick, which has just a 1.5 gigs of RAM and 8 gigs of storage. So there's a half a gig difference in RAM between the stick and the box. Is that a big deal? Well, that's somewhat debatable. A lot of people are on one side of the fence or the other when it comes to RAM. In my opinion, it's not really that big a deal. For years and years and years, the Amazon 4K Fire Stick was the most popular, which only had 1.5 gigs of RAM. If you're using these things for streaming and not multitasking, which most people do, RAM isn't that important once you get over that, 1.5 gig range. The biggest difference by far is the stick will only stream 1080p full HD resolution, whereas the box will stream 4K ultra high definition resolution. Now, that's not to say you can't watch 4K content on the 1080p stick. You certainly can. It just won't show up as 4K even if you have a 4K TV. They both come with the same exact remote. All the typical buttons you find, with 4 pre-programmed buttons, one for YouTube, one for Netflix, one for Disney Plus, and one for Paramount Plus. Those are remappable to set to any app that you want. That's a video for another time, so if you do want to hear about that, please let me know in the comments below and I'll tell you all about that in an upcoming video. Now, the next thing I wanted to show you is somewhat of a big deal to me, at least. When I set this up on my TV in the living room, I had a bit of a surprise, because if we take the stick out of the box, it comes with just a little less than 1 foot HDMI cable that attaches to the stick. So once you have this plugged into there and you plug in the 3-foot power cable, they both come with a 3-foot power cable. This is your entire length from end to end. So the wall outlet where you plug the power in has to be basically 4 feet away from the HDMI input on your TV. For me, it just made it. Like, if my TV was 6 inches further away, I wouldn't be able to use this device without getting a longer HDMI cable. The 4K streaming box has a 3-foot HDMI cable with it. So, you have the 3-foot power cable plus the 3-foot HDMI cable. That's more than 6 feet of length, and that's going to cover most people's applications in their home. It just seemed to me that every time I turn around and I looked at some of the stuff that they put into this device, it seems to me that Walmart kind of went to their developers and said, hey, listen, let's try to save wherever we can. Can we use a shorter HDMI cable? Can we do, a little bit less RAM? Can we do this and that? Can we just cut wherever we can cut to come and trim away some of that price? And honestly, we'll get to my findings and my opinions a little later on in the video, but I don't know if that was the greatest idea in the world. Now, a little bit more about my experience in setting this up. Setting up any Google TV device is super simple. You plug it in, you power it up, you go through the steps, you go through the procedures. It, prompts you to do this, that, and the other. Sign into your Google account, of course. After you connect to the Wi-Fi, it downloads the updates. And here's where I had an issue. On that update screen, being that this is a brand new device out of the box, it just came out like literally this week, it still took between 15 and 20 minutes to download that update. Then fast forward a little bit into the process, when I decided to tell it which apps it wants to pre-install, It took forever to do that as well. So I'm talking about from taking it out of the box, plugging it into the TV, setting it up, to the point where I can actually play something. It was nearly a half an hour. I can't remember the last time I had a streaming device that took that long to set up. I'm going to show you the interface for those of you who haven't seen Google TV, and I'm going to run a speed test, and that will be a little bit more telling as well. So that's all I have to say about that. Now let's go ahead and plug this in, and I'll give you a little tour around. Okay, so here we are on the new streaming stick from Walmart, HD. Comes with Google TV. If you're familiar with the Google TV interface, basically at the top here, you have the stuff recommended for you. You have a live TV section that's going to show you all of the Google TV channels or some of the other live TV services. They can show up here on this EPG, and you can go and watch that. Then you have all of your apps on your devices, so you can click on that and see all the different apps that you have. And plus a different selection of categories to suggest apps for you. Library is going to show you all the stuff that you have bought, rented, etc. I don't do any of that kind of stuff, so you're not going to see that here. Going over to the gear, we go into the settings, and we can go into system, and then go into about, and you can see that this is running Android TV OS version 12. And if we go down into storage, so as you can see, there's 5.1 gigs out of that 8 gigabytes available to you after they've already installed all the, the system settings and apps and files and all that kind of stuff. You can see my apps row here. I've already installed Netflix, the K application, IPVanish, a couple of third-party apps. You can install third-party apps here, no problem. You just have to change a couple of settings. Let's quickly take a look at the speed test on this device. I did have some issues, as I was saying earlier, where it took an awful long time to set up. I ran a couple of speed tests here. Now, my internet speed here at the house is roughly 200, and I will very typically get a little over 200 on certain devices, like on my NVIDIA Shield or on my 4K Max second generation Fire Stick and so on. Here, I've been getting kind of consistently, between a little less than 100 and a little bit more than 100 megabits per second, which isn't all that great. And I don't even have my IPVanish running at the moment. So that would even reduce that a little bit more. So I'm not overly impressed with the speed of the device. So what that means to me is that there's probably some overhead that's kind of taking away from the speed of the device. And that could affect the performance of the device as well. In fact, earlier I was opening up Netflix, and it just froze on the screen opening it up for me. And I had to actually unplug the device and power it back up again, and then we were good. But, so far, for the most part, Netflix works. Everything I've tried works. A couple of little quirkinesses to it, but for the most part, everything's working. As I said, the K application, I'm not going to open that, but that runs pretty well. I have a NAS drive on my network with a bunch of videos that I've purchased on there that work just fine, as well as all the other things that you can do with the K media player. No problem there. Quickly, let's go into YouTube. YouTube works fine. Being that it's a Google device, you'll find that all of the Google apps like, YouTube and YouTube TV and so on are going to work pretty well. Let's do a quick search on a couple of videos here. So nice, bright, brilliant colors here without a problem. Let me open up the stats for nerds so you can see. We have 0 dropped frames. We're running at 1080p resolution. No worries here whatsoever. It's all working pretty well. Go to a different video. All looking pretty good. Again, no dropped frames. We're at 1080p at 60 frames per second. It's working just fine. So there's a look around the interface. Next up are my final thoughts on this full HD streaming stick from Walmart. Before that, just a quick reminder here, because it's the holiday season, that means that IPVanish runs their best sales of the year. So now is the time to pick up to 74% off an IPVanish subscription, regardless of what streaming device you use, and especially if you like to use unofficial or third-party apps on your streaming device. You do want to have a good working VPN, and IPVanish is the one that I use and recommend. Right now they're running a special at 74% off for just over $3 a month plus tax. If you get either the annual or the 2-year subscription, you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if it doesn't work for you or if you don't like it, go ahead and cancel and you get all your money back. No muss, no fuss, no greasy aftertaste. So for my final thoughts on this ON Full HD streaming device from Walmart, I'm going to give it a thumbs down as opposed to the 4K streaming box. For that $5 extra, I feel that Walmart probably cut a bunch of corners to try to trim that price down a little bit further, and I really think that that might have been a mistake. That thing I said earlier about the HDMI cable being too short, that's a bummer. I mean, whoever heard of a 1-foot HDMI cable that comes with these boxes? The 1.5 gigs versus 2 gigs, that's not really a big deal breaker for me. But overall, the performance of the device I felt wasn't nearly as good as what I experienced when I did that review on the streaming box, the 4K streaming box. When I opened up Netflix for the first time, it just froze on the splash screen. I had to restart it. After I restarted the stick after that happening, it came up to the home screen, no issues, but it said that my Wi-Fi wasn't connected. After about 4, 5, 6 seconds, then it said Ethernet connected and, away I went. So if it's my $15 or $20 to spend, I'm going to buy the $20 4K streaming box from Walmart. But if you do have a few dollars more and you do like the Google TV interface, I think it's worth stepping up a little bit more and going with the Chromecast with Google TV, either the HD version or the 4K version, depending on what your budget is and what your needs are. Anyway, those are my thoughts for the ON Full HD streaming stick with Google TV from Walmart. If you enjoyed anything you saw here today, please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, share this and all of your favorite CordcuttersLI videos with your friends. This not only helps to get my video shown to more people on YouTube, it also helps to support the channel. Thanks for watching.